Read in 2 Kings chapter 18. Write it down. And check me out on this. In 2 Kings chapter 18, we find out that when Sennacherib came, you know what Hezekiah did? It grieves my heart to tell you this. But he sent, before he had come, he said, you know what? One day Hezekiah said, bless God, we ain't paying them Assyrians another dime. You see, Judah had entered into an agreement to pay Assyria to leave them alone. Before Hezekiah became king, they had made this bargain, this deal with the enemy that, hey, we'll pay you, you all don't bother us. When Hezekiah became king, he looked at the records and he said, wait a minute, what's this offering, what's this money going to Assyria for? They said, King Hezekiah, that's a deal we made with the Assyrians, and they'll leave us alone as long as we pay that much money. And Hezekiah grabbed that paper and threw it down. He said, bless God, we're not going to pay him another dime. We're going to trust God. God will take care of us. We're going to get right with God. We don't need to pay the Assyrians anything. But 14 years later, unbeknownst to the people, I reckon, Hezekiah says, well, maybe I was wrong. That's where you get messed up, Christian, when you start backtracking on God. You see, you make a decision in faith, and then you go back and say, well, you know what? Maybe I was wrong when I made that decision. When the enemy got outside, a lot of Christians are brave until the enemy's outside the door. When the enemy gets outside the door, their knees begin to buckle, and all of a sudden they begin to look at the enemy, and they begin to think, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. And so you know what that rascal Hezekiah did? He said, send them a letter, tell them I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. We'll start paying the money again. Now, it grieves me to tell you that, but that's recorded in 2 Kings, and that's exactly what Hezekiah did. He made a deal with the devil, and he said, if you'll leave us alone, we'll go ahead and pay you the money. He told the people, we're going to trust God. There's more with us than them. They depend on the arm of the flesh. We trust in the mighty God. And he was right to tell them that. But behind closed doors, in the secret chambers, he doubted whether or not God could protect them. So he said, just in case, we're going to go ahead and start up the tribute money. And we're going to have plan B in case God fails. Now listen, if you've got plan B as a Christian, then plan B is over with. We either trust God this morning or not. That's just that true. Well, he took the money. And then he said, you know what, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now that I got your money, and I know you're afraid of me, I'm taking the city too. You see, when you let the enemy know that you fear him, they're coming on down harder. You say, well, I just want to get along. I don't want to stand against anything. I don't want to be a troublemaker. I don't want to do anything that, causes any trouble. I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to our faith in God, the world better think we're nuts. The world better think we're crazy. The world better say to us, listen, who do you think you are to trust God like that? You better go along with our plan, do it our way, or you're going to mess up. And we ought to say to the world, we're going to do it God's way. We're not going to worry about what your plan is. We're going to trust the living God. You know why I'm alive this morning? Not because I'm anybody, but because God saw fit to let me get up this morning. I've got breath in these lungs because God gave it to me. It's not because of any doctor or any cure or anything of man. It's because of God and God alone. And when God says, that's it, oh boy, I'm dead, I'm done, when God calls me home. Same for you. You won't live 1 second past what God says is appointed for you to live. We listen to the enemy. Let me summarize. We listen to the enemy. And they know how to scare you. And fear fills your heart. And you begin to think, what am I going to do? What if God fails? What am I going to do? And then, and get in this book right here. And you're on your mind. You know what the enemy's saying. You heard enough of it. You can't help but not to hear it. But you didn't just sit there and listen to it. But you walked away from it. And you got in the Word of God and said, God, what do you have to say?